William of Ockham was one of the most important thinkers of the late Middle Ages. He was probably born in the village of Ockham in Surrey around 1285, though some say he may have come from a different Ockham in Yorkshire. He studied at Oxford but never received his master's degree after falling out with the Chancellor, John Lutterell, who later accused him of heresy. Despite these disputes, Ockham remained a theist, he believed in God, and devoted his life to understanding how reason and faith could fit together. Today, William of Ockham is best remembered for a principle known as Ockham's razor, although he never expressed it in quite the famous form we use today, which is, entities are not to be multiplied beyond necessity. In simple terms, this means that when you are trying to explain something, you should not make your explanation more complicated than it needs to be. The term razor is a metaphor for cutting away unnecessary ideas, assumptions or entities, keeping only what is essential. Ockham believed that when we simplify our explanations, we make them more likely to be accurate. This approach reflects a broader philosophical attitude known as reductionism, the idea that complex things can often be understood by analysing them in terms of their simpler parts. The rationale behind this method is that by stripping away unnecessary or misleading assumptions, one increases the likelihood of reaching an accurate or valid explanation. However, it has also been shown that excessive reductionism can oversimplify, leading to theories that are too crude to account for the richness of reality. A good example of this is the limited explanatory scope of type identity theory in the philosophy of mind, which tried to reduce mental states directly to brain states, but failed to capture the full complexity of human consciousness. Ockham practiced this method in his own philosophy. He reduced Aristotle's 10 categories of reality down to just one, arguing that the world contains only substances and qualities. In other words, everything that exists is either a thing itself or one of its features. Another of Ockham's major contributions concerns universals, ideas like humanity, beauty, or redness. The question was whether these universals really exist out in the world or whether they're just names we use. Unlike Plato, who believed that universals exist as eternal forms, and unlike Aristotle, who thought they exist within individual things, Ockham said that no universal exists outside the mind. For him, only individual things are real. There's no separate human nature shared by all people, just many individual humans who happen to resemble each other in certain ways. He even offered a striking theological example. If one and the same universal nature were present in all individuals, then part of Christ's divine essence would also exist in sinners, something that would be absurd for a Christian to believe. Ockham argued instead that universals are merely signs, mental or linguistic shortcuts we use to talk about groups of individual things. These things can be natural, like mental concepts, or conventional, like the words we use to express them. This view became known as nominalism, from the Latin nomen, meaning name. In short, universals don't exist independently of us, they exist only as names or ideas in our minds. Although the phrase Ockham's razor was coined centuries after his death, it perfectly captures this methodological principle, to shave away what is unnecessary in explanation and argument. The razor is not a call for shallow thinking, it's a warning against adding assumptions that don't help us understand the truth. Ockham's insistence on simplicity and precision shaped the future of science and philosophy, influencing everyone from early modern thinkers like Descartes to modern scientists who still favour simple, elegant explanations over unnecessarily complex ones. But deciding what really counts as unnecessary in an explanation or argument is not always straightforward. there is always the risk of using Occam's razor as a convenient excuse for oversimplifying, only to realise later that something important has been cut away. What I mean is that Occam's razor should not be treated as a guiding principle, not as an absolute law of reasoning. It encourages simplicity, but simplicity should never come at the cost of understanding.